There is a version of you, alive right now, who is already living the life you dream about. Not in some far-off future, not in a distant afterlife, but in this very moment inside the quantum field. Every possibility you can imagine, every success, every breakthrough, every destiny, is already unfolding on parallel timelines. That includes the version of you who is a billionaire. This is not fantasy, this is physics. Reality does not create from scratch, it reflects resonance. And the resonance of wealth, abundance, and expansion already exists in the field, waiting for you to step into coherence with it. The mind resists this because it's been trained to think in linear terms. It says, I must start from nothing, then build step by step, then maybe one day I'll reach the top. But the quantum doesn't move in straight lines, it moves in leaps. Every timeline already exists. You don't create wealth from thin air. You align with the frequency of the version of you who already holds it. And once alignment is achieved, the collapse of probability is instantaneous. What once felt impossible becomes inevitable. Think of a radio dial. The music is already playing on every station. If you're tuned to static, it doesn't mean the song isn't there. It just means you're not on the right frequency. The billionaire version of you is broadcasting right now, clear and strong, on its own channel. You don't need to invent it or force it into existence. You only need to tune yourself to match it. The moment you do, the song becomes audible and reality begins to shift. This is where most people falter. They believe wealth must be earned only through endless work, years of struggle, and constant sacrifice. They treat abundance like a mountain to be climbed. But the mountain is already climbed on another timeline. The question is not how to conquer it, it's how to shift into the version of you who already stands at the summit. That shift doesn't begin with effort, it begins with identity. Close your eyes and imagine the billionaire version of yourself. How do they walk into a room? How do they carry themselves when they speak? What choices do they make, not from desperation, but from certainty? That identity already exists in the field, alive and breathing in its own parallel reality. The more you embody it now, the more your energy signals to the field. This is who I am. And the field, faithful and exact, mirrors it back. The truth is simple. The billionaire you is not a dream, not a someday, not a maybe. That version is as real as the one sitting here now. The only difference is frequency, and frequency is something you can shift in an instant. Every version of you already exists. Every possibility is alive. The only question left is, will you align with the version that has been waiting for you all along? When most people think of wealth, they picture it far away on the horizon, hidden behind years of hard work, endless sacrifice, and constant striving. They imagine a long staircase, each step demanding more effort, more time, more proving before they're allowed to arrive. But the truth is, the distance is an illusion. Wealth is not hiding at the end of some grueling journey. It exists right now, as close to you as your next breath, alive on a frequency you have yet to fully embody. The gap is not measured in time or effort. It is measured only in vibration. The mind struggles with this idea because it has been programmed to believe that struggle gives value. We are taught that if we haven't bled for it, if we haven't suffered for it, then we don't deserve it, and so we push wealth further away, convinced it will take decades of grinding before we're even allowed to touch it. Yet in the quantum field, distance doesn't exist the way we think it does. Every possible version of you already exists, including the one who is financially free, the one who lives in overflow, the one who is a billionaire. That timeline is not years away. It is vibrating alongside you, waiting for you to tune yourself to it. Imagine standing in front of two doors. Behind one is the life you are living now. Behind the other is the life of wealth, freedom, and expansion. Both doors are here, in the same hallway, in the same moment. You don't have to walk miles to reach the second door. You only have to turn the handle. That handle is your vibration, the frequency you hold in your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs. The moment you shift the frequency, you shift the door you walk through. This is why some people seem to collapse timelines effortlessly. They stop measuring their progress in time or tasks completed. They begin to measure it in state of being. When they carry themselves with the energy of abundance, opportunities align. When they speak from certainty instead of desperation, doors open. When they embody the vibration of wealth before the money arrives, the money has no choice but to find them. The illusion of distance keeps most people trapped in waiting. They say, one day when I've worked hard enough, when I've proven myself, when the right conditions line up, then I'll be wealthy. And so wealth remains always in the future, never in the now. But the truth is, the only thing between you and that reality is alignment. The gap is vibrational, not chronological, and vibration can shift in an instant. So release the belief that wealth is far away. Stop measuring your worth by how long you've struggled. Instead, begin asking yourself, what frequency am I broadcasting right now? Because when you understand that the distance was never real, you also understand something even greater. Wealth is not coming to you someday. Wealth is already here. The only question is whether you will tune yourself to meet it. Money has no meaning on its own. It is paper, numbers, digital code, neutral energy waiting for direction. What gives money its power is the frequency behind it, the vibration it carries through the beliefs and emotions of the one holding it. Scarcity adds heaviness to money, making it feel elusive, always slipping away. Fear ties knots around it, making it seem hard to come by and quick to disappear. But abundance, certainty, and flow turn money into a current that moves easily, multiplying as it goes. The billionaire version of you does not chase money, nor do they fear it. They vibrate at a frequency that welcomes it, directs it, and expands it without resistance. When you picture the billionaire version of yourself, notice their state of being. They are not frantic. They are not clinging. They are not watching every penny with anxiety. They move with certainty. They make decisions from expansion, not contraction. Their presence communicates safety and possibility. That state of energy is the true wealth. It is the frequency that shapes how money shows up. The billions are a reflection, not the cause. Most people get this backwards. They say, when I have the money, then I'll feel secure. When I have the wealth, then I'll relax into abundance. But in the quantum field, the order is reversed. You must embody the frequency first. You must feel the expansion, act from the certainty, live in the flow before the money appears. Only then does the field collapse the potential into form. Energy precedes matter. Vibration precedes manifestation. Think of water flowing through a riverbed. If the channel is narrow, the flow is restricted. If the channel is wide, the water moves freely. Your vibration is the channel. Fear and scarcity narrow it. Expansion and certainty widen it. Money flows according to the openness of your energetic channel. The billionaire version of you has carved a river so wide that flow is natural. That is the frequency you are being called to embody now. Embodying wealth does not mean reckless spending or pretending to be someone you are not. It means tuning your inner state to the vibration of ease, generosity, and possibility. It means asking yourself, how would I move through this moment if I already knew wealth was inevitable? Then choosing to act from that knowing. Each time you do, you strengthen the signal. You become coherent with the timeline where wealth is your default reality. Money itself doesn't change who you are. It amplifies who you already are. This is why the work begins within. If you are vibrating in scarcity, more money only magnifies the scarcity. But if you are vibrating in expansion, certainty, and flow, then wealth multiplies those qualities, creating stability and growth. The billionaire version of you already exists in the field. They are not waiting for you to earn billions before you can join them. They are waiting for you to match their frequency. Once you do, money stops being the goal. It becomes the natural reflection of the energy you've chosen to embody. Most people never shift into the reality of wealth, not because it isn't available to them, but because they demand proof before they are willing to believe. They stand at the doorway of abundance and refuse to step through until the money shows up first. They say, when I see it in my account, then I'll believe I'm wealthy. When the opportunities arrive, then I'll trust that it's real. But the quantum field doesn't work that way. In the field, belief comes first, evidence second. Energy always precedes form. This craving for proof is what keeps so many trapped in scarcity. They wait for reality to validate them before they allow themselves to shift their vibration. But in truth, reality is only ever a mirror. It cannot reflect wealth until you carry the frequency of wealth. It cannot prove abundance until you embody abundance. Asking for proof before belief is like staring into a mirror and demanding it smile before you do. The reflection always follows the source. The trap is subtle. Doubt convinces you that playing it safe is logical. Don't believe until you know for sure, it whispers. Don't trust until you can see the evidence. But that logic belongs to the old model of linear cause and effect. In the quantum model, coherence is the cause and matter is the effect. The ones who shift are those who risk believing before they see. They walk into rooms as if they already belong there. They make choices as if wealth is their natural state. They trust that their signal is enough, and reality bends to confirm it. The reason most never do this is because it feels vulnerable. To believe without proof feels foolish to the mind. It feels unsafe. But the irony is that clinging to proof keeps you locked in the very state you want to escape. Scarcity is not a lack of money. It is a lack of belief in yourself as already abundant. Until that belief shifts, no amount of action will create lasting change. This is why some people can work tirelessly and still find themselves barely moving forward. Their vibration is coded with "not yet," and the field mirrors that back with delays, setbacks, and near misses. Meanwhile, others seem to collapse timelines effortlessly, not because they're smarter or luckier, but because they embody wealth before the numbers arrive. They decide first, and the field reflects second. The truth is that every possible version of you already exists, including the wealthy one. But the doorway to that version will not open when you beg for proof. It opens the moment you choose to believe. Not blindly, not recklessly, but with the quiet certainty that the field has never failed to mirror your state. If you want wealth to arrive, you must first live as the person who already holds it. Belief is the key, evidence is the reflection, and until you flip that order, the reflection you long for will remain out of reach. Scarcity is often misunderstood. People assume it is simply the absence of money, the lack of enough resources to feel secure. But scarcity is not about numbers in a bank account or the physical money in your hand. Scarcity is the presence of fear. It is the tightening in your chest when you think about bills. It is the anxiety that whispers you'll never have enough. It is the compulsion to overanalyze every choice, to cling to every dollar, to live in constant vigilance against loss. Scarcity is a frequency, and every time you tune into it, the field mirrors it back, creating more lack. This is why working harder from a scarcity mindset rarely changes anything. You can add more hours, chase more opportunities, or take on endless responsibility. But if fear is the frequency behind your effort, all the field can reflect is more situations that validate that fear. The code of scarcity is self-perpetuating. It convinces you that by clinging tighter you will be safe, when in reality the clinging itself scrambles your signal and keeps abundance from flowing. Abundance, by contrast, is not defined by excess. It is defined by trust. It is the feeling of openness, of release, of knowing that more is always on the way. Abundance doesn't panic when money goes out because it trusts that money also flows back in. Abundance doesn't cling to opportunities because it knows others will arrive at the perfect moment. Where scarcity is tight and contracted, abundance is relaxed and expansive. And the field, always faithful, reflects whichever state you embody most consistently. To break the scarcity code, you must first become aware of how it operates inside you. Notice the moments you shrink, the choices you make out of fear rather than trust. Each time you say yes when you want to say no, each time you hoard out of panic, each time you replay worst-case scenarios in your head, you are tuning to lack. Scarcity is not outside of you. It is a pattern inside you. And like any frequency, it can be shifted. Shifting doesn't mean ignoring reality or pretending bills don't exist. It means releasing the static of fear so the flow can resume. It means pausing before you act, breathing before you react, and asking yourself, am I choosing from trust or from fear? If the answer is fear, that choice will reinforce scarcity. If the answer is trust, that choice will align you with abundance. Over time, this simple awareness rewrites the code. The billionaire version of you doesn't live in fear of loss. They don't shrink or overanalyze. They vibrate at expansion, certainty, and flow. They understand that money is not a lifeline to cling to, but a current to ride. To shift into their timeline, you must release the scarcity code that binds you. Let go of the fear, soften the grip, and the static will clear. What flows in to replace it is not just money, but freedom, ease, and the undeniable proof that abundance was waiting all along. The fastest way to close the gap between who you are now and the billionaire version of yourself is embodiment. Not hoping, not wishing, not waiting, but becoming. Every timeline already exists in the quantum field, including the one where you are wealthy beyond imagination. That version of you is not a dream. It is a living identity, broadcasting on a frequency right now. The only question is whether you will tune yourself to it. And the key to tuning is embodiment. Ask yourself daily, how does the billionaire version of me think? How do they decide, walk, and speak? How do they carry themselves in moments of uncertainty? Do they shrink back into fear, or do they move with certainty and clarity? The more vividly you can imagine this identity, the more easily you can step into it now. And every time you choose to embody it, even in small ways, you send a clear signal to the field. This is who I am. The field, faithful and exact, mirrors that signal back with precision. Most people wait for proof before they change. They say, when I have the money, then I'll think like a billionaire. When the opportunities arrive, then I'll speak with confidence. When success is undeniable, then I'll carry myself differently. But the field doesn't respond to waiting. It responds to being. Evidence always comes second. Belief and embodiment always come first. Think of it like a role an actor takes on. The best actors don't merely recite lines, they inhabit the character. They walk the way the character walks, think the way the character thinks, until the performance becomes indistinguishable from reality. When you embody the billionaire self, you are not pretending. You are aligning with a version of you that already exists, and the more consistently you do it, the faster the gap collapses. This embodiment doesn't have to mean grand gestures. It's not about buying things you can't afford or forcing a lifestyle. It's about state of being. A billionaire makes decisions from expansion, not contraction. They say no when an opportunity doesn't align, rather than clinging from fear. They walk into a room with ease because they know their presence has weight. They speak with certainty because they trust their vision. These qualities don't cost money. They cost awareness. And the more you practice them now, the more magnetic you become to the timeline where wealth is inevitable. Every time you choose to embody the billionaire version of yourself, you weaken the signal of the old identity. The one rooted in scarcity, hesitation, and self-doubt begins to dissolve. And as that signal fades, the new one grows stronger until it becomes your default. At that point, wealth no longer feels like something you are chasing. It feels like the natural reflection of who you are being. The billionaire version of you is already alive in the field. They are not waiting for you to earn billions before you can join them. They are waiting for you to embody them now, because once you do, the field cannot help but reorganize reality around your new identity. Embodiment is not the final step. It is the doorway. And the moment you walk through it, the gap between where you are and where you want to be collapses into nothing. So, there comes a moment in the process of shifting timelines when everything begins to move with uncanny precision. What once felt like a dream or a distant goal suddenly starts to arrange itself around you in ways you could never have orchestrated on your own. This is the collapse of probability. Until now, countless potential realities have been alive in the quantum field, some filled with struggle, others with stagnation, and one where you are already a billionaire. All of them existed simultaneously, waiting for your energy to choose. And the instant your vibration matches the timeline of wealth, the field snaps into coherence. The endless probabilities collapse into one. The reality that seemed impossible becomes inevitable. This is not luck. It is resonance. The universe is not rewarding you for effort. It is reflecting back the signal you've finally learned to hold without distortion. And when that signal stabilizes, reality moves with surgical precision. The right people show up at the right time. Conversations unfold in exactly the way you needed them to. An idea that once felt random clicks into place like the missing piece of a puzzle. Each of these events might look like coincidence from the outside, but they are the direct reflections of coherence in the field. Think about how a laser works. Ordinary light scatters in all directions, but when the waves align into perfect coherence, the beam becomes so focused it can cut through steel. Your energy works the same way. When your beliefs, emotions, and actions are scattered, your signal is weak and fragmented. But when they align into the frequency of wealth, the field has no choice but to respond with precision. Suddenly, obstacles that seemed insurmountable melt away. Not because the world changed, but because your alignment changed how the world reflects itself to you. The collapse of probability is the moment you realize that wealth was never built step by step in linear time. It was always a frequency waiting for coherence. The timeline of abundance was not created when you reached it. It was already alive, broadcasting, patient, waiting for you to match it. And the moment you did, every other possibility dissolved. You are no longer flickering between lack and abundance. You are stabilized in the reality of overflow. From here, life feels different. There is less noise, less scrambling, less second-guessing. You begin to notice a sense of inevitability, as if the outcome you once chased is now chasing you. You are no longer trying to force doors open. They open on their own, because you are walking through the hallways of a reality that already belonged to you. This is the true power of coherence. When your energy matches the timeline of wealth, probability collapses into precision. The impossible becomes the obvious next step, and wealth, which once felt like something to earn, reveals itself as something you finally allowed. Wealth does not always arrive with a thunderclap. It doesn't always announce itself with sudden windfalls or dramatic breakthroughs. More often than not, true wealth slips in quietly, so naturally that you almost miss the moment it began. One day you wake up and realize the fear that used to cloud your thoughts around money has lifted. The opportunities that once felt scarce are now appearing without force. The choices that used to drain you now feel effortless. This is the quiet arrival of wealth. Most people expect abundance to come with spectacle. They imagine the dramatic check in the mail, the lottery win, the cinematic revelation. And because they look for fireworks, they overlook the small, steady signals that their frequency has already shifted. They dismiss the calm as insignificant, when in truth, the calm is the clearest evidence of alignment. Wealth does not always knock loudly. Sometimes it simply walks in and makes itself at home, rearranging your life in ways so gentle that they feel like second nature. The quiet arrival is powerful because it shows that you are no longer straining for proof. You no longer need to convince yourself that abundance is real. You are living it. Money flows not because you forced it, but because it is now the natural reflection of your state of being. Opportunities open because you vibrate as the version of you who expects doors to be unlocked. Ease replaces effort because you finally stopped rowing upstream and allowed the current to carry you. In this stage, you may even find your mind trying to downplay what has happened. It will whisper, "This can't be it. If I had really shifted, surely something bigger would have happened by now." But that voice belongs to the old self, the one who equated worth with struggle, the one who craved spectacle to feel safe. The truth is that when wealth truly becomes yours, it no longer feels extraordinary. It feels normal. And that is the point. When your new identity stabilizes, the extraordinary becomes ordinary, and what once seemed impossible feels obvious. Think about breathing. You don't stop to celebrate every inhale, even though breath is the very thing keeping you alive. It is so natural, so seamless, that you rarely think about it at all. Wealth in alignment works the same way. It becomes the air you move through, steady and reliable, not because it is small, but because it has become part of you. The quiet arrival of wealth is not the end of the journey. It is the confirmation that the shift has taken root. From here, growth becomes expansion, abundance multiplies, and wealth ceases to be a destination you strive for. It becomes the environment you inhabit. And in this environment, everything flows differently. The question is no longer, when will it happen? The truth is, it already has. Wealth arrived so quietly that it blended seamlessly into who you are, and now it moves with you in every step you take. Living the billionaire timeline is not about endlessly chasing money, forcing opportunities, or grinding yourself into exhaustion. It is not about proving that you are worthy of wealth or convincing the world that you deserve success. The shift has never been about pursuit. It is about stabilization. It is about holding the frequency of abundance so consistently that it becomes who you are, so deeply that it no longer feels like something you are reaching for. It feels like the natural fabric of your existence. When you stabilize in abundance, money is no longer a goal. It becomes a reflection. Opportunities no longer feel rare. They unfold as extensions of your energy. You stop asking, "When will wealth come?" and start moving through life as if it is already here, because it is. And in this state, the field responds without hesitation. Every choice you make from that vibration reinforces the reality of overflow until the old identity of scarcity can no longer find you. This is the essence of living the billionaire timeline. It is not about external proof, though proof will certainly come. It is not about grand announcements, though wealth may arrive in surprising ways. It is about the quiet certainty that you are already aligned with the frequency of wealth, and because of that, wealth cannot help but mirror itself back. You no longer wonder if the shift is real. You live it. You embody it. And it becomes impossible for life to show you anything else. Most people stay caught in cycles of chasing. They achieve one milestone and immediately begin striving for the next, never allowing themselves to arrive. But the billionaire timeline teaches you that arrival is a state of being, not an event. It is the moment you stop waiting for validation and start moving as if the validation is already behind you. In that moment, chasing dissolves. You no longer measure your progress by how far you have to go, but by how consistently you remain in coherence. This coherence shows up in subtle ways. The calm in your decisions, the trust in your timing, the ease in your relationships, the way money flows in and out of your life without fear, because you know more is always on the way. The stability is not in the numbers, though the numbers will grow. The stability is in you, and from that stability, expansion becomes inevitable. Living the billionaire timeline is not about becoming someone else. It is about dissolving the illusions that kept you from recognizing the version of you who was always here. The version who thinks bigger, moves with certainty, and embodies wealth as naturally as breath. When you stabilize in that identity, wealth ceases to be something you chase. It becomes your atmosphere, your baseline, your reality. And from there, abundance is no longer a pursuit. It is simply who you are.